to WJTV 12's first ever Cool School Special. We're here at the Mississippi Children's Museum. I'm Candace Coleman.
And I'm Walt Grayson. And Candace, since last August, you've been going to schools not only here in the metro area, but also in the Pine Belt and doing stories with students and teachers and administrators on how they're working to improve our schools in Mississippi.
Yes, Walt, and they're working very hard. We actually reported that the Mississippi high school graduation rate is at a record high. For the 2017-2018 school year, 84% of public high school seniors here in Mississippi graduated. That was up from 83% before and is in line with the national high school graduation rate. Now, as those seniors this year are preparing for graduation, maybe they can break the record once again.
Well, Candace, that's one record that I hope we do break as far as schools go in Mississippi. Now, something else that they're doing to improve our schools is cracking down on bullying. Tell us about what you found out in Clinton.
Northside Elementary School. They're making sure that kids work out their problems with each other during recess, but the first step is to simply sit down.
So here's how this episode of Playground Drama began.
I was jealous because her friend was not letting me play with them.
It's a small conflict, but in second grade it can boil up. That's when it's time to cool off on the buddy bench.
We came inside.
We came and we just talked
and we talked it out and we played together.
It's a great way for students to learn how to recognize their emotions, kind of discuss them with each other, and then learn, okay, how do I respond to this in a way that's appropriate rather than just flying off the handles and reacting.
The buddy bench is also a place for the shy to signal to the playground that they need a friend.
The first couple of days, we might have had to say, oh, hey, there's someone over there. Why don't y'all go see if they want to play? But now it's like the kids just are constantly checking to see.
It's only been about a month since Northside Elementary put the buddy bench in business and has already worked its magic on classroom connection and conflict.
They went right over there, and not 5 minutes later, they were hugging, it was resolved, and they went about their way.
Because no one was there to bother us.
What did your parents say about the buddy bench when you told them about the buddy bench?
We haven't. We didn't tell them about this story.
Because sometimes all it takes is a talk between the two people involved.
I don't know about you, Candace, but I know some grown-ups that could use that buddy bench.
Oh, yeah. Me too. We're not going to name any names, though. Yeah. Well, this next school, they want to make sure students start their day on a good note. Here's how Bates Elementary in Jackson does it.
The word of the day is increase. It is spelled INCREASE.
Morning announcements at Bates Elementary are like having an Amazon Echo, but instead of having to call on Alexa, the student announcers for the day already know what you need to hear, from the word of the day to weather to the lunch menu.
Whole grain burrito, tuna salad, choice of side dishes.
All classes can have an opportunity to do the morning announcements, to be able to be public speakers, to be able to read.
Another person Alexa just can't compare to, Principal Johnson.
You are uniquely designed to be great and to do great things. Classwork scholars, make some noise. Motivated.
That right, dedicated. You check this out. You check this out. Smooth.
Every morning he leads that chant. It echoes throughout the classrooms, jolting the school with positivity.
I think that it's very important to start off the morning on a positive note, because with our scholars and our staff, we never know what they may have gone through the day prior or the night prior.
A student comes in with their head low, and by the time announcements are over, they have a smile. It's a simple routine done by many schools, but it teaches the power of speaking positivity into your day. And every now and then, Principal Johnson will even give students a song.
I'm gonna have a good day, a good day, a good day. Everybody say da-da.
And while Principal Johnson wasn't shy at all about singing a few notes for us. Now, when it comes to early childhood development, children with special needs require a little more attention than children with typical needs.
And there's a program that's already providing those special needs free of charge. It's a Little Lighthouse. Yeah, take a look.
This is Callie. Her therapist is helping her learn to communicate using different tools. Since 2006, teachers, speech pathologists, and therapists at the Little Lighthouse have been helping children with all types of special needs, just like Callie.
There is very, very little early intervention programming for typical children in our state, and there's hardly any programming for children with any type of special needs.
The Christian-based development center serves newborns to 6-year-olds, some with Down syndrome, autism, cerebral palsy, and the amazing part is parents don't pay a thing.
It costs us about $15,000 a year per child.
But the wait list is lengthy.
We put another child on our waiting list, and the mom became tearful when I told her that unless something amazing happens, and it very well could, that potentially it's 12 to 18 months before we'll get to serve her child who just turned 4.
So for now, they're doing all they can to help these little ones shine their light.
The success stories of children that are here in our building now, that have come through our doors, whose parents were told they probably won't live past their first birthday, who are thriving, who are making a difference in other people's lives. It's only through the grace of God.
Now, these next schools made big improvements in their Mississippi Department of Education ratings this past year. You talked to the principals out at Lester and Dawson Elementary. They took their ratings from an F to a B in just 1 year.
And if you think that's amazing, Walt, I even went to Rains Elementary where they did the unthinkable. They went from an F all the way to an A.
Wow.
What really happened was we got double the points once those kids that were at passing moved to proficient. We got a point for them being proficient, and we also got a point for them moving.
Principal Owens explained to me something she says many people don't realize when looking at school ratings and student test scores. That is, passing just isn't enough. The student also needs to improve from year to year. And when she got to Rains Elementary, her job was to do both.
Rains was a turnaround school, so that means most of the teachers were new here, as well as myself and the administrative staff.
And they definitely turned it around. In 2016, Rains received a Literacy Support Award for their work with the 3rd graders, but the rest of the school needed that same attention.
We had to do that push for those kids that were passing because we were getting them up to a certain point, and then they were being stagnant, and so that stagnation hurt us.
Last school year proved their resiliency. The district-wide water crisis that closed schools for days put them in overdrive once those students returned.
And every staff member had a hand in that. Even the counselor had a tutoring group.
Principal Owens says the extended school days, which made up for the time lost, really helped. And after-school programs could be the key to overall success.
Years ago, we had programs like 21st Century After School and programs where we had a class size reduction teacher where teachers could focus on small group instruction. They had a small group of kids. And so that's why things like fully funded education is so important, because that allows the monetary resources that we can hire the additional staff and we can run those programs.
Welcome back to WJTV's first ever Cool School Special. We're at the Children's Museum in Jackson, and Candace, you got some updates on stories that you shot earlier this year.
Yes, first up is Provine. 11th grader Kelvin Gardner was the only high school student to present at the Mississippi IDEA Conference. It's where college students from across the state present science research. Since then, Kelvin has presented his DNA research twice more at college symposiums as the only high schooler.
Shortly after New Summit School's chili cook-off fundraiser for their student Reagan Spence, she was able to get a prosthetic leg. Reagan missed more than 3 months of school after having her leg amputated from spina bifida complications. She was in a wheelchair, but on April 25th, Reagan walked into school.
And Hartfield Academy's robotics team made it to the first champion robotics competition in Houston. The robot Dalton went up against robots from across the country. Now, he didn't win a title, but the state champions hope to try again next year. One last update and find out who will receive the WJTV 12 Coolest School Award coming up after the break.
Hi, welcome back. Now the moment you've been waiting for, the announcement of the very first ever WJTV 12 Coolest School. Candace.
Walt, this school, every year for homecoming, they choose a cause to raise some money for. And this year, they chose a little boy named Josh Sexton. Josh actually is a cancer survivor and an amputee, and this school raised over $5,000 to get Josh's service dog trained. So, without further ado, this year's first ever coolest school is Florence High School. Yay!
Yeah.
Obviously.
We can have the applause in post.
Yeah.
Well, why a project at all? I mean, when I was in school, our project was to get through school. But you've taken on this extracurricular thing. Why?
By doing these projects, we can bring more to our homecoming, and it can be more than just a party. We can bring our community together to back a certain cause, and we can all unite to help somebody's life become a little better day by day. And this was our plan with Josh.
And why choose Josh?
So we chose Josh because as a member of our community, we saw that him and his family were hurting, and we decided to come together and support him and try and make his life just a little better.
Yeah, great group of kids.
Great thing to do. And we've got people over here.
Yes, we have Members Exchange here. I'm going to give you this plaque here.
And I'm going to take that mic.
And we have Members Exchange. Members Exchange has been sponsoring WJTV 12's Cool School all year long. Why choose this franchise to sponsor?
Well, being a credit union, we care about giving back to the community, showcasing the great things that the students are doing on Cool Schools. So we are just so grateful that there's students like you that want to give back to your fellow classmates. So that's the things that are important to us and why we want to sponsor this.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Thank you so much. Now, you all did this fundraiser back in September. Since then, Josh's dog, Winter, has grown a lot, and she's gotten some training done. Take a look.
So she's been helping me a lot with my walking and stability.
When there's loud noises, she'll turn around and lean up against him like she's making sure he's okay. So, but when the collar's off, she's a normal puppy.
She makes me feel comfortable at night sometimes when I have anxiety and stuff like that.
He had a special request when we started this. He was telling me how it was a problem for him at school when he's writing because he can't hold the paper. And it moves when he's writing and it messes up sometimes. Could I teach the dog to hold his paper for him? I don't know if that's possible, but we're gonna try. But the next step is for her to pick things up. If he drops something, he don't have to worry about bending down. She'll pick it up. He never has to lose the leash on his arm. She picks it up, turns around to him, he grabs it with his hand.
When I got the call that the Seth Harris Foundation wanted to help us get a service dog, I just cried because I knew it was answered prayers. And then, you know, if it's in God's will, you know, the money's gonna come. And I just am so thankful that Florence High School has just taken a hold of Josh, and Rankin County altogether have just been a huge blessing to us. To be honest, we probably couldn't have made it through this journey without their support financially, prayers, and just love and that they've given us.
Thank you for putting your time, and just thank you for helping us through everything.
Well, Josh is such a joy to speak to, and as you can see, he has a great attitude about life. So his service dog was a great cause for you all to take up.
Well, and thank you, students, for making the service dog possible. And thank you, sponsors, for making Cool Schools possible. And thank you, TV station, for making this show possible. And thank you, sponsors, for making the TV station possible. And we'll hear from one of them right now. Hey, thank you for joining us for WJTV 12's Cool School Special. And a special thanks to the Mississippi Children's Museum for hosting us.
We hope you've enjoyed recapping the stories from this school year as much as we've enjoyed bringing them to you. Just like the students, we're back in August. Enjoy your summer, and don't forget your summer reading.